Hey everyone, Dave here again, second time in one day, and I'm sure you're tired of looking at this mug, but I will do my best to keep this brief. The week two has been graded, and your grades as a whole um, should reflect how things are progressing so far. If you have any questions, please just simply send me a reply, and I would be happy to correspond with you that way. So week two is done. Some of the content that, or at least what I was communicating with you in regards to the discussion, is to utilize the textbook a little bit more. So if you did not use the textbook, either quoting or referencing or paraphrasing any of that content, then you probably, and citing, so providing us with a page number, then you probably didn't earn full points. But I promise you, many of you did miss a few points. But don't panic if you didn't receive full credit. You'll have plenty of time to bring your grades right back up to A status or B status or whatever you expect. Also, in regards to the VO2, sometimes people are going to be all over the map. And, as far as you think you should be a little bit higher, or you think, no way, how can this be so low? Sometimes it is the arithmetic, and sometimes, it's the variable of you just haven't screwed anything up yet, quite frankly, and your VO2 is just fine. And some people are like completely surprised, like thinking, hey, I haven't done anything and I have really good numbers. Well, thank your parents for that. There's a lot to be said about good genetics. So with that being said, what can you do to improve your VO2? Or if you're, in my case, since I'm 41 years old and I exercise regularly, my VO2 is already pretty high. So I'm just shooting for maintaining my maintaining uh, my VO2 max, and really that's about it. Personally, I'm shooting for improving my foot speed, so I'm racing in a 3K in a few weeks, and so I'm trying to improve that, but that won't necessarily improve my VO2 because my VO2 is already pretty high. So what I was doing in my response to your work was just asking you some questions you don't have to reply to, but if you want to create some dialogue there and kind of go back and forth to start thinking about goal setting, I was really trying to get you to start thinking about how you can make improvements and where would be the fastest areas that you may see improvement. So let's take a look real quick in the VO2. The variables are age, that's not going to be able to be changed. Gender, that's not going to be able to be changed this quarter. Weight, now weight can be improved up or down depending on how much time you're spending on your feet and how much time you're engaging in physical activity or rigorous physical activity. So that's going to be really up to you. And then also another variable is going to be time. How much can you improve your VO or your 1 mile? My preference is that you're walking a 1 mile in faster than 16 minutes. That's pretty doable for most people. It's just 4 times around a track. And to be honest, if you're walking like a 25 to 30-minute mile, are you sure it's a mile? Because there are a number of people walking like a 24-minute mile, and unless there's some issues that I don't know about, usually people are walking at the most 18 minutes, but most people can walk a mile between 12 and 15. And I pretty much have a ceiling as far as acceptance at 16. And then usually if you're walking that slow, your heart rate is about 90 to 110. So using these numbers, where can you see some improvement? So if your VO2 is really low, think about maybe walking a little bit faster. Also make sure that you're taking your heart rate accurately. Making sure that you're counting for 15 seconds, multiplying that by 4, getting a realistic, a reasonable heart rate. So those are the things. Again, your heart rate, your time that it takes to walk or jog a mile, and your weight. Now, if you don't need to lose weight, you're already at a healthy weight, then that's a variable you can't consider. All you can really think about is, okay, maybe I can improve my time, or maybe I can improve my heart rate. So if your time is the same, maybe your heart rate may go down. So that's how your VO2 would be improved. In any case, if you want to do this over, you certainly can. I think most of you got full credit for it. So it would just be something that maybe you would do a couple of times, and the book actually has some more assessments that you can do that are around the theme of VO2 max, just so you can kind of compare and contrast some of the assessments that are in there, just for your own liking, just to kind of see what works for you. Personally, in my life, I don't do a whole lot of VO2 max assessments. I'm pretty lucky. The watch that I showed you earlier has a VO2 gauge in it, and you just pay the piper for that one, that ability in a watch. So if you have any questions, just simply reply. All of our grading is up to date, so I feel really good about where our class is at right now. This week we have a quiz, which I'm hoping that you're getting started with. You can take it as many times as you want, and you get the highest score that you've earned. So the sooner you get that A, the less you'll have to take it. And then there are two labs. There's this cardio intensity lab and the cardiorespiratory assessment. Now the cardio intensity lab, let me just click on it real quick just to make sure I'm talking about the correct lab here when I bring it up. Sorry for this delay. Okay, so with this, what you're doing with this lab is you're going to spend a few minutes in warm up, maybe 3 to 5, maybe even 10 minutes of warming up, and then you're going to do an activity broken down into a couple of different intensity levels. You're going to do a few minutes at a with an RPE of a 13 to 15 or 13 to 14. Sorry. So you're going to do about 10 minutes of activity in a certain lower intensity zone, and then you're going to see if you can pick up that intensity for about 5 minutes. And so if you want to do this out maybe on a trail and running, actually in that theme, or on a bike, I will just tell you, you can play with this. It doesn't have to be 10 minutes, and it doesn't have to be 5 minutes. Maybe do like a 1 mile and then a half a mile. At that last half mile, you're picking it up just to see. But make sure you make those notes in the discussion at the end, like this is how you made this assignment yours. So maybe go for like 1.5 miles and see how long that takes you, and then pick it up maybe for another half mile or 3/4 of a mile and see how long that takes you, and just doing some calculations how you're able to improve, or just play with some intensity and some numbers just to have fun with it. So I really like it when students make these labs their own. You don't have to stick to the script, especially in an online class, when you don't have to stick within the parameters of exercising for 40 minutes like we do in a face-to-face class, but instead you can do this on your own, sticking within the spirit of the cardio intensity. So you're playing with different levels of intensity. In this lab, you are introduced into the RPE scale. So how does that fit into the equation of intensity? And then that will also be something that is discussed later in some of the questions. How can you connect your heart rate and RPE values? And I'm not going to get into that because I need you to get into that. So what does the book say? What does the lab say? If you guys have any questions, you should know by now what to do. Okay? You guys take care.